Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a discussion for the solo variant of Great Western Trail New Zealand. This was actually a video I was not planning on actually doing, but then someone commented on our discussion and they're like, man, I love this video, I can't wait to see the discussion over the solo variant. And it's like, this is to you, random stranger on the internet. And I have done a discussion over the solo variant for the original Great Western Trail, and so you can go check out my thoughts on that. And this isn't really going to be a comparison video of the two, it's just going to be talking about the solo variant against Sarah, the AI for New Zealand. And I mean, it's pretty great. From what I remember of the solo variant for the original, that one was also really good. This one is also very good. Like, the way that they're able to not simulate another person, but, represent how kind of the game should be played is fascinating, honestly, because this is a game with a lot of moving parts, especially New Zealand specifically, with the side decks and the bonus tokens and then the shipboard and the wool and all that. It's just there's a lot of little extra things that Great Western Trail, the original, didn't have. So it's like, okay, how are they going to incorporate all of that? And I mean, honestly, it's almost kind of an afterthought, the way that the AI is done whenever you're playing. It's just so streamlined, because what you're doing, you play your game like you would against another player. In a two-player game, you are just like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna move around the board, gather my sheep, sell their wool, get money, move around the ship, and you do all of that as if there is another person, and then you just have a small deck that represents the player, and it goes so quickly. Like, whenever you're done, you're like, okay, I'm going to move here, I'm going to go ahead and move up on the bird track twice, I'm going to, take a objective card, put it in my discard pile, boom, my turn's done. What are they doing? Oh, they're moving 2 spaces and they're putting out a building based off the workers that they have. How many workers do they have? Well, they only happen to have 2. Okay, so they can't place a 2 out, but they do have a 1. Boom, they just place the 1 out. And it's as simple as that. And the way that the solo sheet is handled is so nice, because all the cards are numbered. So, if you're like, oh, what does 4 mean again? You just find where it talks about 4, place one of Sarah's buildings, cards 4, 11, and 15. Oh, okay. So if you ever have a question on what a card means, what does this one do again? It has 2 symbols, okay, that's card number 10, I'll find number 10, and then you just read that section. So you learn how the AI is functioning very, very quickly. If you're playing it for the first time, you could just honestly set it up and leave this sheet just next to you and play the game. Whenever you flip a card, okay, what's number 10 say to do? Oh, okay, I'll just follow this. And by one pass through of the deck, you know exactly how the AI plays. It's done so well. And normally, there's a few AIs where they just kind of amass a deck of cards, but honestly here, I think it works so well. I'm glad it doesn't do anything where you have to manage their hand, or they're trying to build the best possible hand, so the cards they're buying are to do just that. They don't have a deck. When they take the objectives, they take the furthest one from the stack, and when they take sheep, when they take sheep, it's just based off the number of sheep herders that they have. It's they have 3, okay, well, they want to take 2 2s or 3s, and if they can't do that, they'll take a 4. All right, that's that, because obviously they want to get the most points possible. So 2 2s or 2 3s or 1 of each would be 4 points versus a 4 being 3 points. So it's if those are available, they'll take those, and then if not, then okay, they go for something that is available, and if it's also not there, okay, well, they're just SOL. And I like that, because the way the AI, whenever it can't do something, so let's say it wants to hire someone, and it does hire someone, and it has its own little board here of what it's trying to hire, and I'll get to kind of how that works in a sec. But when they want to hire someone, they'll go for typically the cheapest person. Let's say they're going after the cheapest one, but it's tied. It's like, all right, well then you pick for them. Like, there's a lot of like, there is a little bit whenever it has to make a decision. There are some bullet points, and if it's like, okay, well it'll go to, it wants to whatever build this type of building. Oh, it has 2 of those. Well, then you decide which one it wants to do. That's just kind of how they handle tiebreakers for the most part. There are some tie-breaking rules, but if it's still tied, then it's like, okay, you as the player decide. Cool. And you can do that one of 2 ways. You can either do it what's best for you, because the AI is just taking cards willy-nilly and placing their markers out as for free, never having to spend money. Or you can do kind of what's the smartest thing to do for an opponent, what an opponent would do. That's completely up to you, and I kind of like that. Like, typically in some games I would like to be more clear-cut, but most of the game is. So it's actually not that big of a deal, especially with the way the score pans out, even though it's just kind of run by a deck of cards. It's not like its score is 3 by the end of the game, because it's dumb. And also, another way that the AI works is there are the 4 workers, the sheep herders, the builders, the sailors, and then the shearers. They have a specialization token. So the game starts out whenever you just kind of pull a random worker from a bag, and then it starts with that, and that's its specialization. So whenever it's doing something, it's like, oh, okay, it wants to move equal to the number of shearers that it has. And then afterwards, if that is its specialization, if it has 2 to 3 shearers, it'll take a Romney sheep from the stack. If it has 4 to 5, it'll take a Romney sheep and a 2 from the stack. But if it's any other, if any other worker's a specialization, it's just going to move 1. Like, so I like that. I like the specialization, and kind of like that's what it's gonna do. So for example, it's like for this one, which I know you can't see, but this card is, okay, it's going to move equal to the number of sailors. And then based off the number of sailors, it's going to take one of the unique 4 special cards that are in the game. And then if the sailors aren't the specialization, then it's just going to move up on the bird track once. And here's the other thing about the AI. One, it doesn't ever really hinder you. I mean, Great Western Trail isn't a game about getting really in each other's way. Like, if someone goes somewhere, like if they sell to the 15 spot, you can also go there. The only thing that you can steal from players is obviously sheep or the harbor tiles. But you have to be the one to give up a worker that you paid a lot for to grab that, because that's hopefully going to be part of your strategy. And the only thing the AI does that kind of gets in your way is when it builds buildings, it kind of builds them out in front of you with a tax. But the Great Western Trail New Zealand has a way for you to completely avoid tax anyway by going up on the bird track. Now here's the other thing about the AI, or the solo variant of Great Western Trail, that I find kind of fascinating. You get to play the game just like you normally would. And that allows you as the player to experiment without any type of pressure trying to compete. Because I know whenever I'm playing, like with my friends, this is obviously a competitive game, so I'm going to try and do things that I think will win me the game because it's competitive. But with the solo variant, you get to just be like, you know what? I never go for buildings. I never want to try that. Let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can get all my buildings out, how many points can I score, how beneficial is it to get the 10 car or the 10 building out, the one that you land on it and it gives you, one of those ones actually really good, gives you 7 coins and lets you place one of your wooden discs on the 13 wool spot, which is pretty good, because that's actually that basically places that there for free. So you're getting 6 points each time you land there, because It gives you 7 coins. It costs 7 coins to place on there. You get a Romney sheep, which is 3 points, and just placing a disc on there is 3. That's pretty gnarly, especially because this one's worth 15. So it allows you that freedom without any being like, oh man, I got negative 40 because that strategy did not work. But so that's one positive of just trying the solo variants. I remember the original Great Western Trail was like that as well. But the other fascinating thing about this is Great Western Trail is kind of a race. I mean, it is a race in this case to Wellington, but against the AI, it's only gonna do better as the game is prolonged. So you kind of want to be very efficient whenever you're going from building to building and getting to Wellington in a timely manner. You don't want to be going one space at a time, because the AI, the more it cycles through this deck, the more it's going to catch up to you on the bird track. The more it's going to start buying sheep. The more it's going to start getting objectives. And all of those, the more it's going to start getting these hazard tiles. And all of that is free. It's like in a multiplayer game, like with actual people, I know, shocker, right? It's like, oh man, what's playing with other people like? In that, it never really feels like a race, because other players also have to pay money. They have to manage their income. They have to manage a hand of cards to get there and be like, oh, I was able to have a 6 hand of unique high value sheep. That's going to give me a lot of money and place on here. But I have to pay to go there. They have to manage all that. The AI does not. So every time that it's getting sheep, it's just adding them to a stack. Every time it's getting these free cards, it's adding them to the stack. Every time it gets these unique special cards, it's just going into the stack. Every time it gets objectives, it's going into the stack. And whenever you score, it's just free points for them, because they take the objectives and they score them as if they were completed, because it never has to worry about money, doesn't have to worry about certificates, and doesn't have to worry about gold. So this is just basically an accumulating amount of victory points that you are not going to be able to compete. Like, at least I'm not. Like, for example, my sheep, well, actually I beat it in sheep. I got 20 versus its 18. But that was also me. I never go sheep or cows for that matter. I don't know why. But in objectives, I actually got 4 objectives, which is quite a lot. I needed 7 houses, and I specifically got 7 out, and then I needed 8, 9, 10, 11. I needed 13 on the bird track. I got to 16. Needed 2 shearers, and that's actually the strat I went to in this latest game. Was I maxed out my shearers, because I was like, how beneficial is that? Turns out, very. You get a lot of money, and you can get a lot of points by going the shearing route. But I also needed 1, 2 to 3 sheep from the cattle thing they got. So I got 12 points. They got 24 points because they just got that much more objective cards. And I got 0 hazard tiles. They got 6. Just because they take them. Like, that's one of their cards, is they just take the highest victory point value hazard tile is the one they take. The biggest thing was it didn't hire a lot of people. So it didn't actually move out in this particular game. It didn't move out, but they do have symbols. The sailor row will actually just kind of have it immediately hop to medium harbors and just kind of place stuff there, and that's how they get victory points from this. They just kind of freely go there, whereas obviously you have to meticulously go around. And this one was interesting because I actually moved down towards my normal spot, but then I backtracked to get to different areas, because they don't score for coins, obviously, which I got 4 points off of that, which by the end of the game, which is 20 coins. And you might be like, wow, that's 4 points, who cares? 20 coins at the end of the game to me is a lot. But then they don't score for harbor tiles, which is nice, because I got I got 13 points off of that. And they don't score for, what was it? It was, I think that's it. Oh, and they don't score for the 3-point for having a higher hand, because they can't do that. But pretty much they score for everything else. And I actually really like that, because, yeah, the game is just going to naturally progress whenever you're playing against another opponent, but it always feels even. This one, it's kind of like, all right, I'm kind of dragging this out a little bit, but you can also game it. You can be like, okay, if I keep going to Wellington before them, then when the game ends, they're going to get the 5-point token. So I'm actually going to go one space at a time, so they inevitably will go ahead of me and get to Wellington before me. You can't really do that against another player. So what I'm saying is that the game's balanced, but you have to still not just lazily play the game, because then you will just lose. Or not. I mean, maybe you're meticulously planning it, and you can actually go blow for blow with every time they're going. But the game will just also naturally end anyway, which is a great thing about this game, is if everyone's playing slow, the game will still end at some point. In terms of negatives, I mean, I don't really have any. Like, the way that it just kind of goes, the way it does everything just feels fair. And even if it doesn't feel fair, like, oh, it got a 6 sheep, card. Okay, well, their turn's over. Like, whenever they hire one, it's just like, oh, they have all 5 sheep herders. Okay, they're gonna grab a 6 and a 3. Boom, boom. Or if you grab all the 6s, you can be like, oh, okay, it hasn't really drawn that card yet. I wonder, it has to be coming up. I know they have all 5 sheep herders. Okay, I'm going to hurry up and get the 6s out, because you can see, you have a little tile here that shows what they're going to try to get. So you can be like, I'll try and hire them before they can. So it's not completely like they're just gaining a bunch of points. You can still kind of game it a little bit. And the game does have difficulty levels, and the difficulty really is just kind of there are a certain number of cards that are taken out of its deck. I played on medium for this latest one, whenever I was wanting to do the discussion. And so it determines what kind of cards are in the deck, and also it determines every time they hit Wellington where they start on the track. And easy, it starts on 3, so it's 1 space back, then 6 is medium, and 9 is hard. So in my game, they started at 6. They did make it all the way to 21, meaning they hit Wellington 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And that got them 34 points. But they also didn't really go out on the shipboard at all. So, and I like that. I like that the way that these cards are coming out means that the AI is going to play differently, which is really cool, allowing you to play differently and test out different strategies. My score for this latest game blew my mind, because I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm winning. This is a fat stack of points. I'm like, maybe. I mean, it has all those hazard tiles. Every time I was adding up its score, it's like, oh, 34, 20, 20. I'm like, cool. We both got 120 points, which I'm like, what? I redid them. I'm like, is that right? What the hell happens in a tie? According to the rules, unless I'm missing something, I think you just share the in case of a tie, the victory is shared. So me and Sarah are sharing the victory, and we're gonna live happily ever after in New Zealand with our sheep and in Hobbiton, because that's just nice. That's pleasant. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have any negatives, honestly. So, my score for it, multiplayer, the solo variant's a 10 out of 10. It's fantastic. If it was any more complex, it would probably go down, but the fact that you can just play the game, set it up, shuffle this deck, and be like, okay, I'm going to do this. This was my opening hand. I'm going to go to that spot. And then, okay, what are they doing? Oh, they're moving 3 spaces and removing the bonus tile, the cheapest, and taking a hazard. All right, they're done. And I also like the fact that they don't take bonus tiles; they just remove them from the game, which is very nice. Because kind of managing that would be a little much. I think that would be kind of overboard. So them just kind of removing them from you is really good. So yeah, it's just such a second thought while also still giving you something to strive for. Because the solo variant would be kind of weak if it was a beat your own score thing, where it's like, oh, just play by yourself and see how well you did. Having an actual, still an AI person run through the board, put stuff out, take cards, take Harbor Master tiles, stuff like that. It even though it doesn't score for them, it still takes them or removes them. So hires workers. It still does all that, but kind of in a okay. Well, that's happening over there. I'll see what the score is at the end of the game while you're 100% focused on how you want to play. That's brilliant AI design and solo variant design in my mind. So the Woman of Great Character solo variant for Great Western Trail New Zealand is a 10 out of 10. It's phenomenal. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.